All right. Is it going for sure? It's going. Okay. So, if you've seen any content from me, my name is Evan Strong, and I make videos like this geared around the lacing of our shoes, the tying of our shoes, and the things within the clothing that we wear in modern 2024. Today's the 13th of September, 2024, and how those things play into altering our body's universal design. We are all designed in the image of our living God, who is Jesus Christ. And these things within our clothing are imbalances left to right, they are imbalances front to back, and they just alter our natural rotations, our natural balance, our natural strength, just our natural ability to function as a human being. So, the prerequisites that I always state are to lace your shoes with my technique, which you can find many places where this is placed. I've got a lot of content, tens of hours at this point of me speaking about the natural function of the human body and its relationship with the clothing, how the clothing is affecting it. So, lace your shoes with my technique. That includes tying your shoes evenly over toward the inside on both sides to reinforce that internal rotation traveling up the entirety of the body. Pairing that with removing the tags stemming at the tongues of your shoes through everything that you ever place on your body. And I've gone into great depth on what each and every one of those things does and the locations of all of them. And yes, when I speak about things like that within the human body and its relationship with clothing and vice versa, it's zero opinion. Within my tens of hours of content, I give a lot of free modifications you can do with nothing but a pair of scissors with the clothing that you already have to just allow it to work for your body rather than you having to work around it. So there's no opinion in those things. You can try it on your own body, any human, again, within our universal design. It will work for anybody on any face of the globe, any part of the face of the globe. So in this video, I really want to talk about something that has been greatly affected by modern 2024. One of the things that's been the most affected by the way that the world has changed, and that is the human hand. So, if you look at people's thumbs, especially this part of the thumb right here, this muscle, in 2024, people who have access to technology, this muscle is too large, meaning just imbalanced, abnormally large compared to the rest of the workings of the hand. Because we've never used our thumbs the way that we use them nowadays in history as human beings. It has never happened. So, I've mentioned before the importance of fingernails and how the fingernails are very important just to allow the body to have its natural grip strength to support the finger, but not only that, it really affects and plays into the posture of the shoulders. I mentioned I don't use the word posture. I didn't mean it that way. What I mean is, because I'm always talking about the body as being a position. We should not have to be stretching. We should not have to be exercising just for the sake of exercise or working out to get to a certain capability level. The body has its natural functions, and it's about being in a position, emphasizing internal rotation to just allow it to do what it's designed to do. So when I said posture of the shoulders, what I mean is if your fingernails are too short, they'll affect your grip strength and they'll affect the way the muscles within the shoulder and traveling down activate, and it'll actually potentially do things within your pelvis, within your knees, within your arches of your feet, and your neck, and everything, just because you're not allowing your fingernails to stay at a good length to where they're supporting your hand. So it's very important to have fingernails that entirely support your finger on all of your fingers, and I've talked about toes, same thing. The hand naturally has a radius, and I've gone over this when I've talked about the effect of modern technology. But there's a natural radius within the hand. The hand has like a hollowing in the center as if you were holding a baseball, and right here where the fingers come and meet the hand on these knuckles, there is a natural radius that is there. But we're holding things so flat in 2024 that it's altering our body greatly. So I've discussed how it's very important, if you are holding anything technology-wise, to try to keep it as thin as you possibly can while still having a slight radius within your fingers. Because if you look at the natural hand as if it hadn't been altered by modern 2024 technology, the thumb really is only there to work in conjunction with the fingers, right? Your thumb, nowadays the thumb is being used down here. And unless we had the things that we have in 2024, this would never accomplish anything. Having your thumb touch nothing. So the thumb also, like, look what that does to the shoulder. When I was talking about the hand affecting the shoulder and how I've mentioned all the time, if anything within the body is not working correctly in its natural design, something else and many other things within the body will have to compensate to just allow, to the best of its ability in that case, normal operation through life. So if we go from our natural thumb in conjunction with fingers position and we alter it down to here, that's, as I was mentioning, the fingernails can alter things throughout the body. That alters the shoulders, the neck, the pelvis, the back, just, I mean, your entire body. If your pelvis gets affected ever, meaning just your hips, then, as I've mentioned, that's the hinge point from the top, it's the hinge point from the bottom. Everything then will be affected, and it is being affected, and you see it in modern 2024. Just walking around, people's bodies are just in a very, 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 very poor position because, again, we're all universally designed to work in one positioning, one way. And I've gone into very, very great depth on that. But when your thumb is working as it's designed to, kneading your fingers, there's your natural radius that I was talking about, right? Your fingers will kind of just wrap around your thumb, because if you're grabbing your fingers together, you're not going to necessarily keep your fingers perfectly flat, because also you can't. There's cramping all throughout here, because if these are flat, that means that this would have to be as close as it could get, and there is that natural radius. And so we're just, as I always mention, a lot of times we're forcing our bodies to try to do things that they're just not designed to do. I cannot tell my body what to do. He cannot tell his body what to do, and she cannot tell her body what to do. And that goes for every human to ever live, or who has ever lived. It's designed to do what it does. I always talk about how the body breathes on its own, and it heals itself on its own, and it blinks when it needs to, and it does all these things. And balancing, we shouldn't have to be thinking about it. The body just works, and we can't tell it how. And so when we're not allowing it to do something like a natural radius, and when we're not allowing the fingers and the thumbs to work, look at my shoulders, look at the internal rotation that can then happen. I'm always going into depth on internal rotation. If the thumbs are back here, you or I or he or she would never, in that point, in this position, be able to raise your shoulders. You can't breathe, your neck then has tension, and again, traveling through the entire body. So the thumbs work up here, and we're doing a lot of this. And I don't need to necessarily go into depth on what all that affects, but the hand works with itself, right? If you're picking something up, you're picking it like this, thumb and fingers, ends of them together. So it's very natural for the thumb to be able to rest across the hand like this. And if you try this on your own hand in 2024, chances are you cannot do that, because this muscle that I was talking about being so abnormally and imbalanced, overused because of modern day things, there's too much muscle mass there, an unnatural amount, to where you can't even most people in 2024 can't even lay their thumb across the palm of their hand. Also, that radius needs to be there, or else this pinky is then clear out here, and then you can't get there anyway, right? So if your hands get stiff, I mentioned it a minute ago, your forearms then get stiff. If your forearms aren't working correct, your upper arm can't work correct. Your tricep will then be not really allowed to work, and you'll get binding up in through here in your rib cage. On your ribs, you'll have a lot of scar tissue where all of these muscles, like your lat and the muscles that go up into your rotator cuff, and even just the skin, the tissue of the skin and all the things within there will just adhere to your rib cage from being forced to try to work really in a state of external rotation, where your thumb is just in such an abnormal position to where, again, your entire life will just be, I mean, it will be just totally hard from what we're doing to it. And most of us don't understand these things and don't realize that. It's just common to have these pieces of technology. They're just all over the place, especially here in the United States of America. And so it's good to know these things though. And I've talked about how the thicker your piece of technology gets, the farther away from yourself your thumb gets. Your thumb touches your fingers, right? That's part of your hand. And if you have something in there that's very thick, you will create what you will think of as a new normal. And your body will then be trying to operate out of this position. And you're walking around with, again, cramping, tension, anterior tilt, tense traps. I mean, just an immense amount of things, but we need to just allow the body to get normal. Your pecs will then be just chronically shortened. Your shoulder will not sit in the socket where it should, right? If you watch my thumbs and what they do with my shoulders when I do this, this is good, normal, natural, internal rotation. If my thumbs drop to where the device would be used, my shoulders aren't in their position to just work, right? So the natural hand has a lot of dexterity. It has a lot going on within it, and nowadays people are kind of walking around like this because that radius is not there, right? So yes, natural things will always be natural, and they will always work well with the body. The body will always work well with them because the body is nature. The only way we grow is by eating nature. That's it, and it becomes us. We are the earth. I mean, that's just the truth. So when we create things or build things or melt things down to make these pieces of technology, it's artificial, it's man-made, and the body is not designed to work with them. And so instead of allowing the things that we use to be built in ways that the body works with them, we just build things and as a society, as a human race, and try to have the body then alter itself to use those things, and that does not work. So there's a natural radius within the hand, and then there's natural flexibility. I do not stretch. I've stated that many times, and it is the truth. I do not stretch. It's about the clothing, and that's, again, my focus. But then also there's so many things within 2024 that people are spending an absurd amount of time doing with their bodies in a position it does not even work in. And again, we cannot tell our bodies what to do. So yes, the natural hand just works. And not only does it work, but when it's allowed to just do its thing, the entire body will be thankful, because those things that I mentioned, the correlation between the positioning of the hand and everything else within the body. So anyway, when it comes to health, when it comes to trying to stand normal, when it comes to trying to breathe as a normal human being is designed to breathe, check your hands. but rather check the things you're doing in your life that are altering your hands' natural workings. We shouldn't have to exercise our hands. We should just stop doing things to alter them. So, I will be designing clothing, minimal, 100% natural material clothing, to allow the body to do what it does with, to a degree, the least amount of restriction that we can get. Things such as keeping the pants up off of the hips, right? Waistline sitting where it should, shoulder seams sitting behind the shoulders on the tops and at the edges of the shoulders on the sides. Things like this, the things that I have gone into great depth on, of the universal design of the human body, to just allow it to work. And yes, so if you'd like to purchase my clothing when it comes time, stick around for that. I am excited for it personally. If you do ever purchase it, please only purchase it if you purchase it in a size that actually fits you, because that is the whole intent, again, to just allow the function at the hinge points and the pivot points of the body. So, okay, do your entire body a service by allowing your hands to work as they were designed. Really, the big thing you need to know is, as I said, there's a natural radius, and the hand should work with itself, right? So, okay, thank you. It didn't stop. The reason I say that is because a lot of times that means I didn't say something that I should have said. If there's something I shouldn't have said, I feel like maybe there was. So I'll just say that right now in case maybe there's something I missed out on. I'm gonna put this back. It's on a soccer goal, as you probably saw. I'm going to mention real quick, actually, the pinkies. When we're using these devices, a lot of that radius is the pinky. See how the pinky will drop down quite a lot when there's that natural radius? Well, if you're using something flat, that pinky wanting to be that much more like radiused, like down, if you will, than using something that doesn't allow that, our pinkies, again, just generally as a general public, a general population of humans in 2024, the pinkies, which really play into the strength of the body, and again, just any part of the body, it's there for a reason. The pinkies have a lot of function, just like the pinky toes. I'm always talking about being on the outsides of the feet is so natural, but your smallest toe is on the outside of your foot, but it does a lot. So when that pinky is not even allowed to work, because what it will actually do using something flat is try to get out of the way. And actually the way that it works, as I showed, is farther in. So when we're using a phone, it's the first time I said phone, I just don't like technology. I do not like to focus on it. But you'll notice if you are using a device, a lot of times your pinkies will be kind of trying to get out of the way. But again, that's the exact opposite direction that they would naturally be in. So a big part is the pinkies. You'll feel a lot of, again, excess muscle mass that should not be there. It's affecting your hand greatly, right here as well as right here. Those are the two main points on, again, the general population in 2024 of people who are taking part in any kind of technology like that that is flat or that has a gap, because that will also do very similar things to altering the mass within those muscles that is abnormal. Those are two locations that are getting very much altered. So yes, the pinkies, again, they work inward, right? Because if you were to get a radius, that pinky would have to come in order to do that, rather than how it's being forced to work abnormally, the way it's not designed to, like this, right? So that's a big one, those pinkies. And I've also talked about the neutral wrist. I've explained that, and how the pinky is actually the end point of your arm. You go straight out from your arm, and it's your pinky, not your pointer finger, okay? Internal rotation. And I've gone into that, but that pinky needs to be able to do its thing. It's very, 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 very important. It's designed to be there, and our God does not make mistakes. So, yes. Okay, now we're good. Thank you. Maybe not. It still didn't stop. I'm not upset about it at all. I'm just confused because this is actually a video that I've been a little bit like tried to make a few weeks ago, didn't make it, and then now I feel like I'm supposed to make it, and now it hasn't stopped twice, and I feel like it's because there's more to say. So the hand just needs to be able to work in line as well. I've talked about the neutral wrist, but the hand, as far as like the fingers, they need to be neutral because there's a lot of internal rotation here. If you were doing this, my wrists are neutral decently, still abnormal, but we generally are using our hands like this. And so not only all those things that I mentioned, but also the wrist just isn't allowed to stay neutral because then everything else is compensating weird. Because just, again, these things that we have, we wouldn't ever use naturally. I mean, it cannot be used naturally. So it requires us to take our natural neutral position here and go like this. So yes, again, pelvis tilts, shoulders are, you're actually in external rotation constantly using any kind of modern technology like that. There's just about no way you can get internal and hold the back of a device, and then also that thumb will then have to get to the front of the screen, which is how we operate them, and the thumb does not do this. The thumb just wants to do what it does. So when I talk about being in a constant chronic state of external rotation as a general population of the world, of the globe in 2024, I talk about how it is the clothing, and it is, but also holding a device like this in literal complete external rotation for many hours a day. I'll show my feet because, right, internal rotation, natural, neutral, openness, and then external rotation, right? So anyway, I don't want to try to stop it if it's not time, but yes, there should just be a natural cupping, a natural open palm, right? Not flatness, because then again your entire body is altered. So the hand, it should have a lot of dexterity in it. It should be able to move a lot. You should be able to just do whatever you need to in every type of function or position that you could without straining your hand. I mean, the hand does a lot, and people aren't used to that in 2024 because they just can't even move their hands. People are experiencing so much pain. Again, things like arthritis, most of this stuff is a joke. If you're just trying to force your body to work in a position it's not designed to work, it's going to hurt. I've experienced that. So, yeah. We just need to allow our body to do what it does. That's why I say we cannot tell our bodies what to do. Nobody can. So, yeah. Really, the thumb should be straight. This whole angle thing that's going on nowadays, even in my own thumbs, again, I've been using devices for over 10 years. This bone should be in line, because as I was saying, how the thumb should just work up here with the fingers, when you're training it to work down here, it's not using the pad of the thumb, it's using the tip. And again, that's just very abnormal. The pad of the thumb works with the pad of the fingers out here, internal. When you bring it back, you're external, right? Internal, external. Whoa, I'm falling down is how it feels. So it's just, yeah, again, active, natural, neutral. The way the body works is here, not here. So, yes. Okay. Anyway, if we can, ideally we do everything that we can to stay out of the world. within doctrine, within the Bible, the Holy Bible of Jesus Christ, the doctrine of truth, talks about being in the world, not of. So we live in the area, in the place on this earth is where the world dwells. Worldly things, right? But we can be here in it and not be a part of it. And I'm an example of that. As you can tell, my hands work differently than most every other human in 2024 because I'm more focused on truth than a device. So, the natural hand. Okay. Now it's really time to stop. Thank you.